What is up, all my fish tank people? This is Simply Reefing coming back to you again with another video. Just got back from Reefapalooza and sitting over here just cleaning up glass. It's a mess. Been gone for about 3 days now, and you know, time has taken its toll. So we're gonna go ahead and wipe down the glass, get that all cleaned up. And first things on deck today is going to be swapping out the Radeon Gen 4 for the Radeon Gen 5, specifically the one in the middle. Went out to Reefapalooza and was able to get another one from the folks over at Saltwater Aquarium. They had their 15% off, so get a couple $100 knocked off of that wonderfully priced light and go ahead and get it slapped on. So I did do the two. So I did the far left, right, middle, back, front, whichever way you guys are seeing it and looking at it. But my outer edge Radeons were both Gen 5s. I did leave the Gen 4 in place. After I put the lights up, it was impossible to get the daylight side of things here to match up properly without making a lot of adjustments. The Gen 4 is different from the Gen 5. The ones that I do have are the blue spectrum, not the pros. So that was one big ding on it. Doesn't have as much white channels on the blue as it does with the pro with all of the white channels. So once I did get those lights up, it was pretty much evident that I did need to go ahead and get that third light put in. So that's pretty much what we're gonna do here. Just wipe the glass down, get that light plugged in and strung up, and get it over the tank and get it all plugged in. So while we're doing that, we'll talk a bit about Reefapalooza and how that was. That was a great show. I mean, honestly, everything that went on at the show was pretty awesome. Obviously, I got to see a whole bunch of my reefing friends, got to meet a lot of you guys out there, and just hung out with all of the vendors. So that was a great experience. Would say if you guys haven't been out to it, especially if it's in your city, definitely go and check it out. Orlando's awesome. I know New York is coming up here soon, and that should be as great as the Orlando show, if not maybe better, who knows, but we'll see what happens at that show. I don't know, you guys tell me down in the comments below, man, if you went out there and picked up anything awesome. I would love to hear about it. If you want to tell me what it was that you did get, from which vendor. I know I went around, I did try to do some videoing at different booths, and that was just nearly impossible for me to do. You know, I haven't seen most of these guys here in about 2 years since our wonderful lockdowns have been happening. So a lot of these guys, I may see them online, in their chats and things like that, but not in person. So it was good to see everybody. Pretty much hung out a lot. I did take some photos. I actually posted those up on Instagram. If you guys want to go and check it out, just go and hit the link for my Instagram page, and that should take you to some of the photos and videos. I also did a couple of TikTok videos too. But with all that being said, what I did find very interesting was the show was littered with a lot of vendors carrying a lot of LPS corals, especially the torches. Those seem to have been the biggest thing for this year. Lots of torch corals hanging around, a lot of your LPS. So I think this year, maybe for the foreseeable future, is going to be an LPS season. Your Lobos, your Scolies, your Acans, some Duncans, a lot of those big meaty corals seem to be on the top this year. So we'll just keep an eye out for that and see when that trend starts to change. And you know, it's going to be a really interesting thing to see, because I'm pretty certain a lot of you guys are out there cooking up some nice corals, just waiting for that time to be able to release into the public. So we'll go ahead and take a further look at the tank here in a moment. But a couple other things I did want to let you guys know. I did do a lot of videos, interviews with a couple of the different vendors. I mean, see if I can remember some of the folks I did talk to. I talked to GHL, the Hydros guys, who else? I also talked to folks over at Smarter Reef. That would have been really interesting for you guys to see. and I think a couple other interviews that I did. Sadly though, when I got back and I started to go through all the footage, the audio was just complete garbage. It wasn't even usable. It was so crackly. I did have the video up for Smarter Reef. I was gonna go ahead and post that to try to bear through it, but I'm pretty certain you guys would have just hated it. It wasn't worth it. So definitely, I'm pretty pissed off at myself about it. I'm figuring there was a lot of interference that was happening on the audio. So I do have to go ahead and look at getting a new microphone set up here for my camera. But like I said, moving on from that, the tank is doing awesome. Let me go ahead and just pan you guys around here for a bit and show you guys what's going on with this new Radion's added in. All right, and here goes the tank from the side here. Just wanted to go and give you guys a nice little side shot of everything. Now that I got that third light installed, as you can kind of tell here, really it's on a blue spectrum, which wasn't an issue with the light. It was more or less the daylight side of things. Obviously the Gen 5s being blue, more blue, and the G4s having more white in it did create a bit of imbalancing between left and the right. So the middle here had more white going on with it than it did on the left or the right. So pretty happy I got the light and was able to get it hung up, and now everything looks pretty even currently. So we'll just pan around here and take a look and see what's going on. But yeah, I definitely want to go ahead and get out to another show, do some more interviews with folks. There was a lot of new products at Reefapalooza. I think when I talked with Connor at Hydros, they had some of their new, what do you want to call it, the flow meters that were coming out. GHL, I believe they had a new dossier system with their product. I believe Red Sea also had some new stuff. I think a new tank lineup was coming out also too from them. And Clearwater Scrubber, they had a new design for their turf scrubbers there. That was a pretty neat little thing to see. So before they had the pipes coming out the side for the drain and the fill pipes, I think now it's just one fill pipe. I think they're going to include a pump with it also too. The fill pipe, and then I believe the drain was actually relocated to the bottom, and it's now, I believe, 1-inch drain. I personally don't have a turf scrubber, but I have looked into them in the past, and this new design here looks pretty promising. It is still in testing, so what we saw was kind of like a bit of a beta. So we did all kind of throw our ideas as to some modifications. So be pleased to see those mods come in, especially given that the hobby is at a buzz with these turf scrubbers here. So what else do we had going on? And we had the company Smarter Reef. Definitely wanted to get that out to you guys because their product that they had was a turf scrubber and a filter roller in one, and a skimmer and a filter roller in one. I kid you not, I looked at it and that was the one reason I said, you know what, let me stop and talk to this guy here and see if we can get this information out to you folks here. But definitely I'll see if I can plug some of the videos from some of the interviews that I still do have into this video here, so you guys can kind of see what's going on there, and probably, you know, cut some of the bad audio out, and maybe I can get a couple good pieces in there. But we'll see what we can do here. You know, it is what it is. Things happen, and definitely this was a lesson learned to just check the audio equipment before you get rolling. So as far as my tank right now, the Cade system has been up, it's been running. I did have a 6-month video that unfortunately I missed the deadline for me posting it. It's now 8 months in on this tank, and I'll probably just have to do a whole new video on what's been going on, because things have changed. I don't know if you guys can tell here, I moved a giant rock from out of this middle section recently, and I've been just relocating corals. There were some pieces I did take out of this rock. I think this particular rock here in the middle only had like 3 corals sitting on it, and those I relocated. My Garf Bonsai, I believe a chalice, not a chalice, but a Sophastria, a branch in Sophastria was on that rock. And it was one other coral that I had on the rock. I just relocated everything to a different spot, which opened up the sand bed a little bit more. And I was able to add in a pair of scolies that I picked up from Trash Panda at the show. Speaking of that, a couple other corals here that I did pick up at the show. Let me see, hang on. Let me go and show you guys a couple of other things that I did pick up. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get this. All right, here we go. So I also did pick up this plate coral here that I got from ORA, which was with saltwater aquariums. Let's see what else. I didn't get this from Reefapalooza, but I just recently got this new Lobo that I added in. I did pick up another Lobo from the from Saltwater Aquarium in ORA, but it was here and unfortunately it didn't make it because the first night that I did get it, which I think was the first day of the show, I dropped off and put it near a Favia. Unfortunately, that Favia decided to munch off half of it, and that was it. So that was my fault, and I'll take full responsibility of that goof up there. This coral in the back, you guys can probably, depending on how I have it here. So that red coral in the center, that is actually a red dragon or the little red Ferrari, WWC little red Ferrari, however you want to say it. That also came from ORA. So there was a few pieces that I got from them. I didn't pick up too many corals because I have the whole frag tank full that I'm starting to go through and try to trim down some things in there and see what I can move out of that system. Sorry for all the bubbles right now. I am treating the system currently, and the reason I'm treating it is that the flatworms started to reappear on a couple pieces of the SPS, mainly the jaw dropper at the top. So it is back to treating the tank again and pulling this out, dipping it, and dipping whatever I can and blasting off any flatworms that I do find. On top of that, with me finding the flatworms, I did have to pick up some new medication to kind of deal with it. And that was, let's see here, grab this from the bottom. And that was the, turn it sideways here. There we go. So it was the Filmora AEFW or AEFWX acro eating flatworm remover. So that is also part of the treatment that I've got going on in here to try to eradicate the rest of any of the eggs that may be hatching here shortly, and or any adults that may be lingering around. But that's what's going on in this tank. I did pick up a new frag tank. So I see a new frag tank and a new show tank. The show tank came from Lunar Reef, and that was the other person I did an interview with. So man, it was a bunch of interviews that I'm just gonna have to scrub. But yes, I did talk with Lunar Reef. Those guys are pretty awesome. They had some really nice sumps at the show, and you know, fortunately I was able to pick up a show tank from him. I picked up a separate frag tank from a different vendor that came down and was able to go ahead and get that loaded up. So we'll have a bigger frag tank in the garage, and we'll get all that worked out shortly here once I can get some bulkheads for it. But this tank is, for the most part, still doing good. Like I said, we're just battling some of the flatworms and hopefully get them knocked back as much as I can. If you guys have any suggestions on any predator fish that can't eat them, that wrasse over there, he's too big, he's too old. I had him when he was a baby, and now he's an adult and lazy as shit and won't eat any flatworms. But he will try to hunt down a bunch of the bristleworms from out of the sand bed here. So he is doing something, just not what I need for him to do. I did have some thoughts in mind, maybe a leopard wrasse, a chorus wrasse, what else? Any of the other wrasses? Peppermint shrimps, I've heard those do well. I did drop a few in here, and that just became an expensive meal for the wrasse, so peppermint shrimps is out of the question. The rest of them went down to the sump, so that'll handle itself down there. But other than that, man, guys, let me know if there's any other fish or anything else that I can put in here to kind of keep the flatworms at bay. 6-line wrasse, I'm throwing that out there, just keeping that option open. I do have one in the frag tank, but it's one of those things like you hear the horror stories kind of about the 6-line wrasses and how they become very territorial. And the wrasses themselves generally do that. This guy, I think he chased the last one out the tank, and I had to catch him and put him somewhere else. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here and cut this video a bit short. I got the walk around video from the floor of Reefapalooza to go ahead and release here in a moment. But other than that, man, you guys take it easy, and I will talk to you guys on the next one. Peace.